Hey, good morning, everybody on the YouTube land aside. If you're watching this rerun, please skip ahead 16, 17 minutes into the regular radio portion of the program. It is the pre show where I just get things organized and lined up, make sure all the radio stations can get hooked up. And if we have any audio issues from that point on, hopefully we can get them fixed before we go all the way to live. But good morning. Good to have you along here today. Good to see you. Hopefully, it is chilly out this morning. Holy moly. It's supposed to be like 30 degrees today, 31 today. It better get moving. That's a 40-degree temperature swing it needs to get into. My night last night was spent the night what do you call it? emceeing a country down home country Christmas. And for a lot of you folks, if you don't know, I'll tell you, I don't really get into Christmas music at all. Good morning, Waylon. Good morning, Dakota Radio Group, your production side. Guessing that's Pierre. Anyway, I'm not a big, I don't care for Christmas music. There's like maybe one or two songs that I'm probably okay with, but years and years of being in the radio business and being forced to play Christmas music during Christmas, not a big fan. So when I emceed it last night, it was for a benefit. They call it the Giving Tree. This lady pretty much does it all by herself, but families that need help traveling to different medical exams, or if they short them money, she slips them some money anonymously, of course. So that was my whole schooling of what was going on last night. So he raised some money for that. Morning, Karen. Hopefully everything in Mobridge is going all right. I wonder how much of the Lake Oahe is froze up here. Is it all the way? Dave, Minnesota, good morning. Cheers. Mistress for Christmas by AC/DC. Okay, so I actually heard that last night. Before I went, it was held at the theater. And right next to the theater is a little dive bar. And I went in there and had a whiskey, and I was talking to the bar, and she told me, she said, the only Christmas song I like is one by AC/DC. And she played that for me. And I got to tell you, Mr. Mayor, it doesn't sound any different than any other AC/DC song. I mean, if you heard one, you pretty much, and I like AC/DC. It's one of the rare concerts I've actually been to. Cheers, by the way. Morning, Mecton. Yikes. Anyway, that was my whole Christmas extravaganza. So I voice track a morning program, kind of a real country classic, some new stuff in there for a radio station in Montana. Morning, Eric. And the general manager says, Scott, we got to start playing some Christmas music. I'm like, you can try, but I can control it off of my computer and delete the songs. So unless they're like put in there as commercials, you're not going to get me to play them until like maybe leading up like a week before Christmas or something. But I don't know. Some of these stations, holy moly. All right, where was I headed here? Let's see here. That's what I was looking for on the webpage. Morning, Scott. Everything hopefully is going well for all you. And I'm not against Christmas by any means here. I'm just saying that I'm not some music is okay. It's just it seems like, just like the decorating starts before things starts in November already. And so does the music at some points. AC/DC's okay. I've been listening to more Metallica the last 17 months. So I like Metallica. It's been they've been like one of the most consistent heavier rock / metal bands. I don't know. Things have changed quite a bit. Got a buddy I went to school with, and he moved down to Las Vegas. And my mom was still alive, so it was a while back. I went down and watched his band play. Holy moly, that I was out of place on that one. Okay, band's name was like Avenger of Death or something like that. Good grief! I mean, they're talented, but if they call that metal, I don't know if Metallica can pass for metal, because it was definitely a little harder style. All right, here. Our high temperature is showing 31 on my weather app today for a daytime high, which is going to be nice because it's freaking cold out this morning. Colo Wayno ears. One. There it is. Whew.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Muth, good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm just hooking up my headphones here to my phone, so everything should be good.
Good deal. We're live on YouTube, by the way, so whatever you say is going to be
Okay.
Put out to the World Wide Web.
All right. Okay, sounds good. How are things going with you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Just getting the day started here.
Yeah. Hey, it's supposed to be a little nicer today. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, it's warmed up already. It's warmed up to degree already. Oh, look out. So yesterday was ugly windy.
Oh, yeah.
Last night was cold. I mean, it dropped down really cold. So today, I am not doing the bison coyote hunt, but
Oh, you're not?
I'm not. Partner fell through. But the coyotes are going to be out like thick today.
Yeah, with the warm weather, you bet.
A nicer day out of the way. Yeah, they're going to be crazy.
Yeah. And when we left Mandan yesterday, it was blowing, and we had gotten some snow, maybe, dusting to half inch. Then it kept on snowing, and with the winds, the visibility wasn't too bad. I mean, but the winds were cold. My goodness, It was cold yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, I got done feeding cows. I was like, hey, there's a lot of things I could do in the shop, but I don't have a heated shop, so let's just go do paperwork. End of the year,
Yeah. Yeah, I got to get caught up with that stuff, the tax stuff, and go spend some money so you can get some more tax write-offs.
Is that
what you do?
That's not an issue. Not at all. I'm catching up with stuff I was supposed to pay a month ago is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So
got a goofy one. I'm sitting there looking at I get this bill from Northwest Tire. And I go in and I'm like, I'm here to pay my bill. And they look up on the computer. They're like, you don't have a bill. I'm like, why you keep sending me one then? So I have no idea what's going on. They can't figure it out, but I get one every month.
I'm glad you went in. I bet you're glad you went in and was going to pay it at the store, because otherwise you'd have sent the check and they just kept on taking it.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So, All right, stations 659.30, 659.40 on 659.47, 59.40 Central Time on Mark. You can't listen to me at the same time you have YouTube on there.
Yeah, I know.
There was a little feedback.
Right. I got to turn that off and make sure everything's set up right here. Okay.
Man, I need a hot tub.
I'll get one of your watering tanks and put it on your porch.
That looks so hillbilly.
Well,
it's so hillbilly. Some of that stuff, it's like, I get it. Everybody's like, oh, it's rustic and everything. I live rustic every single day. I don't need a rustic, nasty old cold tub. I want jets on my back, man. I want jets on the feet. I want the good stuff. You know what I mean? The problem is I don't have enough power in the house here to do that.
Oh, don't you?
No. This old ranch house is we can't run. We have to take which bathroom we use at the same time because if we go, it'll blow a breaker.
Bro breakers?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, funny.
Muzzleloader
Yeah.
season in South Dakota's open up here.
Yeah. North Dakota's been open up since the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually have a tag, and I've struggled to find some whitetail bucks. So
I'm struggling to find any
probably,
deer whatsoever.
yeah, yeah.
Even on the roads.
Probably have to go east. Yeah.
Yeah, driving on the roads at
Hmm.
night, no deer. There's just nothing. 3 years ago, I mean, I had dents all over the side of my pickup because there was deer all over the place. And
Hmm.
now you can go 80 if you want. And you don't have to worry about hitting a deer.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot less deer out there in a lot of places. That was something that maybe we'll talk about too. Is when I was down hunting in a few areas, southern half of the state, there's some ranchers down there and their ranch managers that weren't happy with the Game and Fish Department because they gave out so many tags in some
Yeah.
areas, and there was such an inundation of hunters in their area, and there wasn't hardly any deer. So
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll discuss a few things. And we'll talk baiting, of course. I got some emails and some text messages and some things from people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they brought up several good topics at the advisory board meeting, and they did bring up our Badlands bow hunting crowding or overcrowding, I should say, and they talked about the sheep that they had, the fisheries, how the fishery was doing. It was
fishery,
really some
they do a
good
nice
reports
job.
there.
Yeah,
They really do.
The fishery department, I think they just. But then again, I'm sure you still have people on the fishing side of things that argue about there should be slot limits or there should be this. You should be able to take so many of these over 20. Like certain lakes in
Right.
fishing areas in South Dakota, it's like you can only take 1 over 21 per day.
Sure. Or they're wanting to decrease the limit or limit overall. And yeah, I and Kurt Shroud and I have talked about this, and Curtis said too. He said, as long as there's the smelt in Lake Sakakawea, he doesn't believe it'll be overfished. But if you don't have that smelt in there, and that's going to impact that population in a hurry. And they're saying that the sauger population is actually the reproduction this year has really been good, and they're
nice.
kind of tested it to the Yellowstone flooding, the dirty waters coming in or something that
changed some things around.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, in Turnus, can you put a plug out today? Today's the day. Big buck contest today at the Tumbleweed Bar Banquet Room in Lincoln. Okay. I'll do that. I can do that. I got a whole pack of shout outs for coyote tournaments across the Dakota Territory too as well. So
bet. I haven't been to the Tumbleweed in a long time. They used to have some good steak deals out there. I don't know if they still do that.
Somebody's asking me why I don't host a coyote tournament. I said it's very difficult because for a coyote tournament, you need a place where they can come, have drinks, and eat. And we don't have any of those places around here. So it's pretty tough to do that.
There isn't any local restaurant there that has like a banquet room in the back that would serve food and you could get that.
What's local to me, right? I mean, Golf already has their tournament. Marmuth has theirs. I'd have to go. I can't go Rame. I can't go Amadon because neither one of those places have any place for this. I'd have to go to Bowman, but Bowman really doesn't have. I mean, they got one place that would be open late enough that night to do that. But I don't know. We tried to do a tournament out of Bowman and it just didn't work out. Anyway, 60 seconds to showtime. Station 60 seconds to showtime.
What about Medora? Is there anything there
that's kind of out of the realm of my? I mean, that's going to be an hour 15 drive for me to go there and host it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how a guy can do a online type of tournament without cheating, and I just can't figure it out. I haven't figured that one out yet. Anyway, 30 seconds, Wayne. I'm going to go quiet here until we start. Stand by. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm your host, Scott Bachmeyer here, broadcasting from a little piece of heaven I like to call the ranch office here. And the Badlands, pretty close to Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, kind of nestled in between the three. Little piece of heaven is what I like to call. Coyote season is upon us, and tournaments galore. We're going to go through some of the tournaments around the area here. Today, Bison, South Dakota is having their coyote calling contest. Good luck, folks, if you're out there in their first set. They should be calling them in right now here as the sun's coming up here. Today also is the 6th annual Christmas for Kids coyote hunt in Killdeer, where they use that money and they buy local area Christmas gifts for families that can't afford them. That's pretty cool. The 2nd annual three-dog tournament coyote calling contest at Ulrich School Gym. And those folks down there are cheering on Lisa Lockhart pretty hard in the NFR as well. She's been there for 17 straight years. She's been there for a long time. 73 Saloon out of Phillips, South Dakota is having their coyote calling contest today as well. So those are what's going on this weekend. Good luck to you folks. Now, next weekend is the Lone Tree Saddle Club Coyote Hunt in Galva, North Dakota. The Randy Rohde 6th Annual Memorial Statewide Coyote Calling Contest. This is going to be going on next weekend as well. Nellie's Saloon is hosting their coyote calling contest next weekend out of Ening, South Dakota. The 16th Annual Day County Coyote Hunt out of Roslyn, South Dakota is next weekend. And that's it for there. Then we go to Montana. Forsyth, Montana, having theirs December 16th. The 7th Annual Predator Hunt for the Esmond Volunteer Fire Department, December 17th. Then we get into the new year up in Dickinson, North Dakota, starting out January 6th and 7th with their benefit coyote hunt. Keene Fire Department out of Keene, North Dakota, having theirs January 21st and 22nd. Reynolds Coyote Hunt is going to be January 21st. The Northwood Men's Club Coyote Hunt and Raffle, January 27th. The 2023 Wrighton Memorial Coyote Hunt, February 4th, and there's a whole $5,000 added purse to that coyote hunt. Then we go to an ice fishing tournament. The first one I have here is Pollock Men's Club 7th Annual Ice Fishing Tournament, and that's February 11th and 12th. So if you have tournaments, whether ice fishing or coyote or what have you, send them my way. I'll make sure to get them on the air. Wayne Muth joins me this morning. Good morning, Mr. Muth. There's a lot of tournaments out there.
There's a lot of tournaments. My goodness, if you want to make some money doing coyote tournaments, man, that's your chance.
Well, here's the problem though, is they're all on the same weekends. Like here's what they need to do is have one on Christmas, during Christmas weekend, when all these college kids or maybe kids are coming back, all these young people come back and visit. Some of them get bored,
Sure.
And we could easily do that. Like I was telling you before we started out on the air, I'd like to figure out how a person could do like an online coyote tournament to where a person could still try to do that, but not have the cheating side of things, because the more money that gets involved in that, seems like sometimes the cheaters come out.
Sure. I don't know if there's a tag system when they take a picture of it that's time and date marked or something, or I don't know how you do that. That'd be interesting.
I did a tournament like that one time with your cell phone. Your partner and you had to hunt together because one of you had to have the time on your phone and the coyote in your hand and blocked, and the other person had to take the photo. So it was proven that you two are hunting together, and not only that, but it was time stamped. But I don't know. It's one of those things. It's too bad. But you've seen cheating. I mean, you've seen on the national side. Have you seen the walleye tournament where the guy put like big old sinker weights in his and got? I mean, you can't you got to get around it somehow. But how do you screen for all of this cheating? I mean, that's a tough thing.
Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, that walleye tournament exposure for that cheating, I went nationwide. That they lost a lot of stuff and a lot of sponsorship. Their boat was taken away. There's some civil suits, I think, against them now. So yeah, it's not worth it.
It isn't. Just be honest. Whatever happened to that, Wayne? What happened to the honest people in the world being like, that was something that was like brought up, and that was a big thing to be proud of. Now it's not so much anymore in some of these people.
Yeah, I just think that like the fishing tournaments and such, there's such a big money in it that there's such a pressure for these guys to win, and the sponsorship that's there, and I think they'll take every shortcut that they can. And And there's a lot of honest fishermen out there that do a
Absolutely.
very good job. And I think in North Dakota, you're going to find that probably more prevalent than anything. But, you know, outside of
And,
that,
and South Dakota.
you
You got to
never
remember
know.
we're on both
Yeah.
states here now.
Yeah. Yeah. You bet. Yeah. South Dakota is mirroring that as well. You bet.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, I wanted to have you on because there's a lot of things coming up. I think both the Dakota territories can talk about. And granted, the North Dakota side just had their advisor meetings for the North Dakota Game and Fish go around and do these meetings, and you attended one of them. And
Yep.
we have some issues that I think both states need to chime in on. And South Dakota does things a little different, and it seems like it's been working very well down there. Texas has been doing things different. A lot of states have been doing things very progressive when it comes to working not only with landowners and trying to make things better and looking at some of the science and the research, especially from deer farms. Because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to chronic waste disease, if you're not going to work with deer farmers, you're going to be behind on everything because they can do it in a controlled environment, whatever you need to do. So,
Yep.
uh,
I agree.
uh, so people have different. I've had plenty of text messages saying I shouldn't support that. If I don't care what kind of hunting you do, as long as you keep out there, you're buying guns, you're shooting animals, you're using archery equipment or whatever. I don't care as long as we're hunting. In fact, muzzleloader season opened up here on the 1st in South Dakota. North Dakota's been open for a little bit. You'd want to talk about an older style way of taking a deer. I mean, the muzzleloader is the way to do it.
Yeah, it is. You know, I've got a muzzle loader, and I did draw a tag after 13 years, and of course, all the whitetails had died off in our areas that we hunt. So I've got to search new areas to find a decent buck. But practicing with that muzzle loader is a lot of fun. They're a lot of work because they
Oh,
have to be
yes.
cleaned up all the time. And I had troubles finding ammo for mine because I bought mine many many years ago, and it's a 54 caliber.
Oh,
So
not a
so
50.
the
Okay.
not a 50,
Yeah.
and I tell you what, was tough finding the bullets for it, the cartridges. So yeah, it's I found a bunch. I had one of the guys at one of the gun shows had some, and he gave me a good deal on them, and I bought whatever I could, and um, hopefully I could find something to shoot it with now.
I didn't know this, but I was listening to a station here on the North Dakota side, and they were discussing with one of the game and fish officials saying that if a person has a gratis tag and you did not fill it during the rifle season, you can use it during the muzzleloader season with your muzzleloader. And
Hmm.
our deer population is so bad that I haven't taken a deer in 2 years off of anything here. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping to do archery equipment because with my gratis tag, even with muzzleloader, you got to stay on your property, and
right,
if there's no deer, there's no deer. And
right.
but my archery tag, I'm looking hopefully to head to one of my buddies and maybe try to get an archery tag filled.
Yeah, get a little venison in the freezer. That'd
Yeah,
be good.
I was
Yeah,
told
it's always
specifically by
good.
the wife saying we need wild game.
Yes,
We're
yes.
low on that here, so
Well, did you get an antelope this year?
I had a gratis tag. Unfortunately, I had zero antelope crossing my property
Hmm,
that I could hunt, even on my lease place. So
sure.
it was,
Yeah,
but man, the pressure, and we'll talk about pressure and everything. We're up against our first break already here, Wayne.
sure.
So
You
we're
bet.
gonna, you bet, stay with me here. Wayne Muth is my guest here today. We're gonna be talking baiting, everything to deal with what's going on, chronic waste disease study. And if you want to chime in, feel free. 888-932-5682. That's 888-932-5682. You can also text me as well. Back after these messages. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
Did you know that Dakota Community Bank and Trust was recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks 2021? According to Newsweek, from over 2,500 FDIC-insured institutions, we are amongst the nation's top banks to serve our customers' needs in today's challenging times, ranking number one in North Dakota. We invite you to come bank with us. Stop in today to your nearest Dakota Community Bank and Trust and see what being America's best small bank is all about.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in, and our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Good to have you along here. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. It's brought to you by many of the fine sponsors I have, including Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, maybe it's your air seeder, maybe you want to get things ready here. Your combine still needs a checkup and some work done on it. Freedom Repair coming out to you, to your place, into the field all summer long, all winter long, helping you get fixed up, back going on here. 18 plus years of experience. Lucas Kelly is his name. 701-440-1945. That's 440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. Welcome back, Wayne Muth, to the program here. Wayne, during the break, somebody texted me saying if I found anything out. And did I catch the TV news about the 20-month-old Great Pyrenees that killed 8 coyotes that had gotten into a sheep pen? I didn't see it, but you said you seen something about this.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Apparently, that the 11 coyotes attacked these sheep, and the Great Pyrenees was there and killed 8 of them. Was pretty beat up and has had several surgeries, I guess, and a lot of fixing up to do. But pretty amazing that one Great Pyrenees would take out 8 coyotes. So,
well, that's what they're bred to do.
That is, you know,
and people forget that, when you look at some of these animal loving, well, I'm an animal lover. All right. I mean, let's talk about animal activists. Okay. They would look at something like that and say, oh my God, I can't believe the sheep rancher put it in there and, oh my God, but that's what they're bred to do. That was their instinct.
Yep.
The 20-month-old or whatever it was. And went after him.
A friend of mine has one down south of you a ways, and he's got some sheep, and he has some Great Pyrenees in there. And I drove into his place one day, and the male was up on the hill, and the female was down on the side, and there was like 8 pups there on the side, and they were cute as you can be. So I was talking to him about it, and he said, yeah, there's actually a fox that hangs out with the family there because he'll get protection from the coyotes.
Really?
So, yeah.
I think my buddy John has, I think it's Great Pyrenees. I'm not, some of the dog breeds, I'm not sure, but when it comes down to branding and castrating at his place, it's one of the rare times that dog comes in from the sheep and he knows what happens when I'm throwing those over the fence. And
really?
He gets filled up pretty good on that. But yeah, it's fun to watch them work. There's no doubt. I mean, that's in their blood, and it's just like hunting dogs, bird hunting dogs or anything. And some of them it's just bred into them. That's what they do. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Before we go too far, I want to give a shout out to another NFR participant that's out there, Ty Brewer from Mandan. I think it's his 7th time he's been there. A great family. We know Eddie and Penny. He grew up with our kids. We coached them along the way, and good kids, good guys, just represent us well in North Dakota, and I know that all of them do. So.
And I want to give a shout out to my South Dakota friends here, Levi Lord and Junior Dees. Levi's out of Sturgis, Junior's out of Aurora, South Dakota. That's just outside of Brookings, South Dakota. And I actually got to meet Junior quite a long time back here. But they won the first round in the team roping. And
good deal.
Yeah, doing a heck of a job. So, I mean, both North and South Dakota represented. And Montana's got a slug of them in there, too. So, but anyway, let's get moving on to some sketchy, well, not sketchy, just some topics that I feel that we need to have the North and South Dakota chime in and see what they really feel, because I've been getting a 50-50 mix on some of my social media accounts on this, but I throw the question out there. Should baiting be legal to do, whether it's, I mean, and we got to break it down even more. I mean, so when I hear baiting, I feel that you're throwing some corn or whatever out in front of your tree stand or your ground blind or whatever you have, and you're waiting for those deer to come in and take advantage of that. Okay. Right. Then there's also people, I think they're a little confused on this. They feel that baiting is putting any type of supplement out, whether you're hunting over it or not. And then there's another group of people that claim that food plots are baiting. So let's get into this discussion, because the North Dakota side is trying to ban baiting and hunting over bait stations, and they've done this in quite a few units now, haven't they?
Right. In at the advisory board meeting this last week, the first topic that came up was the CWD and the baiting restrictions, and the Game and Fish Department got hammered on it pretty hard, because I think a lot of people feel that there's no scientific data that shows that by restricting baiting, you are slowing the spread of CWD, because really there are no studies out there. And then there's also the theory that by having more baiting stations, such as Texas does, they spread these deer out. And then deer are very family unit oriented. We see that in the herd that we observe, that they kick out the outsiders. We know which ones are certain families. And so these baiting stations that are spread out, are they going to pull these deer apart and not congregate them like you would on one big bait pile? Then the the topic comes in is the natural piece of it. I mean, they yard up in the wintertime. They're sitting on the haystacks. And the Game and Fish Department's response to it is, they have a responsibility to do something to mitigate that congregation and the amount of encounters that each deer will get, because the more encounters you're going to get, the more chances of it are spreading.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to interject here a little bit, because you said there's no evidence, there's no science, there's no data. There is. When I had his names are slipping me here this morning. He runs a TV show called The Wild Outdoors, but they did it with. They actually found out how much urine that these deer would have to interject in order to get enough of it, and it's like 3 or 4 gallons, it's just outrageous amount. So there is studies that people have done, but it seems to me that some biologists don't want to look at some studies. Is it selective? Is it selective stuff here? I mean, why wouldn't they take everything into consideration?
And that's a very good point. And that's one of the things that I brought up. And I think what you're saying there is, on that side, they're not looking at, the study there, or the independent study that may have shown that, hey, it takes, 3, 4, 5 gallons of urine ingested for this deer to get CWD. But they don't have any other scientific studies that any universities have done that I've found, that I'm aware of, that will show that by baiting deer, it's going to spread the disease. You look at Montana and Colorado, and I think Wisconsin, they don't have baiting there. It's all restricted. And they have some of the highest rates of CWD. So that theory kind of goes out the window.
Exactly.
And yeah. One of the things that I brought up, and I mentioned, I said, with the public backlash and the public outcry with this, and it's such a nationwide hot topic, that I hope our Game and Fish Department, and I mentioned this to them, that I hope they use the biological outcomes with this, because I think it's gotten too political. And I think the political versus biological, they're not falling back on some of that biological information that's out there. And they're maybe not doing justice like it could be. I'm on the fence about baiting. I think that, baiting does help. The youth seasons or youth hunters help, and it's good to get them into it and having some success early. Do you need it to be successful? For many, many years, nobody baited around here, and we always had success. You just had to hunt a little differently and maybe a little harder. But, a lot of hot topics about it.
Well, and there is a text message comes in, says, pretty darn silly when we have up to 250 deer find our grain hay, silage piles, not to mention the feedlot feed in a hard winter. And and I agree 100%. What I want to know is, where they've started, banning hunting over bait. Okay, because you got to explain it that way, because it's not illegal to put feeders out there. It's illegal to hunt over them in certain units, but you can still go and put truckload of corn out there as long as you don't hunt over it. It's all right. Okay. Right. So, have they, in units that they've banned this baiting rules and hunting over it and what have you, are they seeing an increase or a decrease in the ones that are turning up CWD positive?
Well, here's the problem. As long as they test, they're probably going to find something. And I believe this year, and I talked to a biologist recently, and he said they found 2 or 3, I think, positive CWDs, and he's not sure which units they were in. So as long as they test it now out east, I don't believe they're testing a lot of those areas. So that doesn't mean that it's not there.
Exactly.
So as long as you test for it, you're going to find it. And the amount of testing that they've done and the percentage of positives that they have is such a small percent. It's like 1% or less, something like that. I can't remember the statistics, because one of the guys, I think from Beulah or Hazen, had put together a very good study, or written up and got a lot of information on it. And he had these stats there. And when you look at how many deer are killed by cars, you don't restrict people driving on the highway because they're going to kill a bunch of cars. To kill a bunch of deer, Well,
I tell you what, Wayne, we're a little bit long here. Thing. I missed my break a little bit. Station, sorry about that, but we'll be back right after these messages.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy.
Did you know that Dakota Community Bank and Trust was recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks 2021? According to Newsweek, from over 2,500 FDIC-insured institutions, we are amongst the nation's top banks to serve our customers' needs in today's challenging times, ranking number 1 in North Dakota. We invite you to come bank with us. Stop in today to your nearest Dakota Community Bank and Trust and see what being America's best small bank is all about.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo-Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Stations, I'm sorry. Usually my back timing's a little better. Wayne Muth is my guest here. Wayne, we have, you know it's live when you do that. I mean, there's a lot of pre-recorded shows anymore, and that's once in a while you got to have a live one. But these stations are, they're so professional. So KGFX and Pierre, thank you so much. KOLY in Mobridge, KCJB in Minot, and KLTC in Dickinson. Today I'm not on KFYR because KFYR is having their open your heart campaign, and
really?
it's their big, they do that all the time the first weekend in December. It's a huge fundraiser that they help with and try to bring in food items and all kinds of things here, and I think Mr. Bob Weefold originally started that and went off of that. So anyway, but anyway, we're professionals here now. Are you ready for some comments here as we're talking CWD and deer?
You bet.
All right, first off, the guy that says that he's with you because he shoots a 54 cal too. They quit making the maxi bullets in that caliber, but he also came back and said, "Are we seeing more CWD because there's more CWD out there, or because maybe there's more deer than in the 100 years ago, so the small percentage is a bigger number?" Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
They weren't studying 100 years. Maybe it was around 100 years ago. They weren't testing for it.
Yep, exactly. I think, for all we know, they had CWD and EHD on a regular basis back then as well, but they didn't test for it. And the more you test for it, the more you're going to find, the more you're going to scare yourself sometimes. No. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a slippery slope a little bit when you do the testing. But when you find something, then is the Game Enforcement Department obligated, because that is their mission, to protect and conserve and enhance populations. So does that mean that they have to do something? So yeah.
Well, back when Jeb Williams used to come on with me, he says, well, we have to do something. He said we can't sit back and do nothing, right? And I agree, but I also look at this and say, if you're banning baiting here and you're looking at this and you're still seeing the CWD, and go down to Texas where they actually have a program where they will buy the feeders and the feed for you if you spread them out one per so many acres all across your property, and try to spread these animals out a little bit. And so I don't know, but you look at also on the other hand, when I went down hog hunting, the easiest way to get hogs, because they're wily animals, I'll tell you that right now, is feeders, to hunt them over feeders. And they are a nuisance down that way, and they're going to be up here in the Dakota Territory eventually. I know there's some people that said they already seen some some smaller herds, but if you want to call in, 888-932-5682 is the number. So 888-932-5682. I had a texter come asking me what the number is. So yes.
And one of the other things that was brought up at the advisory board meetings is, supplemental feeding them on the positive side. And I think that's something that's overlooked a lot. There's the game ranches down in Iowa or someplace that they've done the study. They found that the fulvic acid and the humeric acid, I think it is, they as a supplement in their feed will slow the progression of CWD.
Absolutely.
So if that's something that we can put some funding toward and try to mitigate that, let's try and correct it down the road. And then also, I'd mentioned before on one of the other programs, we talked about the University of Wyoming study that has showed that there's a mutation in those herds that has been prevalent for a while of that gene, that CWD gene, that is slower progressing than the onset. So these deer are living longer. That means a doe is living several years longer, having several more fawns on the landscape. And then what you do is your population isn't depleted like it would be, like you'd see with the EHD piece. So other things that can happen.
EHD. Let's bring John Armin is on hold here. John, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. Great conversation.
Hey, John.
The thing, and how you doing, Wayne? Wayne brought it up, and some other gentleman brought it up. One of the things, when I talked at the meeting, it's not that I don't believe the game and fish, and it's not that I don't believe that there's CWD, because we know it's there. We know it's on the landscape. It's spreading throughout the country. Unless we find a cure for it, it's going to continue to spread. It's a slow process. And you were talking about urine. It's actually 33 gallons of urine.
33 gallons. Holy
Wow.
cow.
30,
Yeah.
they'd have to. I just read the report from the DMV, or not the DMV, but the vet that they put out. So he says it's virtually impossible to get it. And this was from that study, and I know how information is. You can get studies wherever you want. But my big question to the game fish is, are we doing the right thing? I understand they want to do something, but is there something proactive we could do? Like they say, we don't want to congregate deer. Well, right now I can tell you there's 200-300 deer in a cornfield. I just talked to another guy. He's got 400 to 500 deer out east. What about, like we used to do, and some things they do is put the feed out and spread it out, because for 3 months we're going to have deer congregated. 3 to 4 months, as long or longer than if somebody baits. And most people don't bait 3 months out of the year. They may take a little corn in there and dump it. So is there something we could do to help slow down the spread of CWD, which is what they're trying to do, but it's proactive? Do some more research, get some of these people that are doing stuff on, and continue to give people the opportunity to use that tool they've had in their toolbox, which also helps curb the spread, because it's taking deer out of the population. So, I just don't want to see things lost when we don't have the science, and the science is not there when it comes to spreading it by bait. It's there that it's, there's CWD on the landscape, but it's not proven that baiting actually hurts anything. It may help it, because we're one of the, states that has less CWD because because we allow baiting and deer spread out more.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, John. I think that's other avenues have to be looked at, and here again, I think that the federal government was looking at giving like $70 million to CWD research to states. Well, if they want to use some of that funding, maybe they need to do things such as maybe live testing of deer for CWD or something in that nature. And I guess another point is this going to come down to a legislation piece I think in 2008 there was a law that measure that was brought through.
Nasty.
Yeah, and that was very contentious. And you start looking at that, and it's going to be the legislatures that are going to set up a law that's going to say, "Hey, the Game and Fish Department can't tell you that you can't bait." Is that what we want to get to, or does the Game and Fish Department want to start looking at things and say, we need to work together a little bit more and be a little more flexible and try to get a solution rather than just a Band-Aid, maybe?
A quick question here came up, says, does CWD only affect mule deer?
No, whitetail and mule deer
and elk.
More prevalent in mule deer, isn't it, Wayne? And it seems like elk and whitetail are a little bit more resistant to it, but whitetail bounce back a little faster, because I think the main concern is mule deer.
Yeah, and the whitetail were the studies. Those are the game farms and such in the central part of the United States that they tested on. But in North Dakota, they have voluntarily tested elk and moose, and there has not been a detected in either species here as to date. So that's good.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean it's not there, but it hasn't been detected yet.
So what do you guys' take on? I know in Minnesota they did this. I know in North Dakota they did this. That if there was a unit where there was CWD proven positive in that unit, maybe one deer out of 1,000 that got tested, right? They look at reducing the size of the herd by hiring so-called sharpshooters and come in and deplete some of the herd. And I know it was done in Minnesota. They did a big one, and I think I think they killed like 300 some deer in this one area. Is that the right way to go? I don't think so, but what do you say?
As a hunter myself, I think it's a hard sell. I just couldn't. We want to increase our populations, not eliminate them. So I think, like I said, there's got to be other ways that you can mitigate that process.
All right,
John.
John, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, I say the same thing, and I think Jeb or one of them did say that that's part of that document they don't follow, even though they did it. And all I can say is I'm not going to say anything real negative, but if we do that again, we better process that meat and give it to the people that need it, and not dispose of it, and not use it. And I know the kid that was actually out in Minnesota doing the shooting.
You did know,
and he said they had a trailer set up. They shot him. They tested him. If they're negative, they gutted him, took care of him, took him to the food processor, and fed the community. But here in North Dakota, I think what they're doing is that's why they're keeping the deer tag so high in like 3F2 is because they want to get that population down. So they're trying to do it with hunters, which is good, better than sharpshooting.
All right. So I got a couple text messages here. We've actually, this same guy that was talking about silage piles and everything, he says they've actually left up to 10 acres of corn 400 to 500 yards away from the feedlot to try to prevent a lot of the deer coming in. And it works for a while, but after a while, eventually. And then Dave from Minnesota says it only took 2 years for that deer herd to come back in full force again. So, so yeah, people know that story. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Man. You shoot the deer on the landscape and you leave the bodies on the landscape, and then the prions there. It didn't make a lot of sense in some of the stuff that we've done. And that's what I think a lot of guys are complaining, that there's been hundreds of millions of dollars spent with no results.
I was told one time, I explained to him, because I learned a lot about what Texas did when I was down there hog hunting. I haven't hunted hogs in any other state, but I was dealing with some of the landowners down that way. And for them, it's a nuisance. There's no doubt about it. They want them off their landscape, and how many feeders that were spread out. And I mentioned that to somebody up here in the Dakota Territory, and their comment to me was, well, we don't want to sit and mirror what Texas is doing. And it got me thinking, I'm like, you can get six deer tags in Texas. Did you know that? As a non-resident, you can go down there and I mean, they give you a sheet of paper just to fill out, and you don't even have to tag them. You just write down what you have on there. So if you get stopped and they're like, okay, you're only at 4 of your 6, keep hunting. And so
I think
what's wrong with that?
That's a good thing about talking. Yeah, that's a good thing about dialogue, you guys, is that, when you get shut down, it's like, there's other states. I just talked to a guy in Utah. They do a landowner, they do a landowner tag, but they also do a landowner appreciation tag. So if you let X amount of people hunt in your land, they'll give you another tag to use, and you can use that tag for your friend or whatever.
Right.
Iowa has landowner tags, but you still get a tag. They do things with landowners and appreciate them, and there's different things we could do. I always think about, you want to open up more land? Maybe offer a guy a big game tag. Say, hey, if you open up your property, maybe we'll give you an elk tag this year. I mean, there's different things we could do to make hunting better in North Dakota, and we could spend a lot of this money on habitat, which is what we all know makes a huge difference. So there's a lot of things we could be doing instead of just throwing money out the window.
All right, one quick comment before I let you go here, John. So Wayne mentioned $70 million being distributed between states to be able to test or work with CWD a little bit more. If there's that much money, why would you, just like cancer research, why would you want to cure cancer when you can keep getting money for it? or am I thinking wrong? Am I thinking wrong on this way of thinking?
Is that the thought process?
I asked them. Yeah, and that's why I said, if that money does come in the state, I want to see a detailed output of where that money is going, because we don't want it to be, if it's going to be spent, it needs to be spent on what it's supposed to be used. And it's not just testing, because the testing doesn't tell you anything except we already know we have it. So if we're going to be using that money, it better be going to the absolute research so that we can get rid of this somehow.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Well, John, I appreciate you chiming in here. And if your weekends open up next weekend, let me know. Send me a text, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
You bet. Thanks.
Take care, Wayne. Thank you.
So you bet, Scott, John. So Scott, we talked about the increased tags, and that really, raised the hackles on several of the ranchers down south, where there's so many people down there and not a lot of deer. And then that was one of the other topics for the advisory board meeting, the Badlands bow hunting, and that's being looked at and seeing how that can be maybe adjusted somewhat, because there's a lot of pressure out there, a lot of people out there early on bow hunting. So there's a committee that's been established that's looking at maybe finding ways to smooth that out a little bit. So
let's finish with a positive here. We got about 3 minutes. Give me some positive here. You said something about bighorn sheep was a very positive talk.
Yeah, it is. Currently right now we've got 335 total sheep in North Dakota. And then they also have the three affiliated tribes herd that has been established in 2020. There's 30 that were established then, and they have the highest lamb production in the nation. Right now, currently, they're at 75 sheep. So that whole agreement with the three affiliated tribes will, and as of 2026, I think it is, two tags will be allotted for that. So that will be good going forward to having additional tags here and getting more sheep opportunities. So that's good.
Yeah.
And then this last year, they split up. If you saw, they split up units B4 and B5 because one is on the east side of the highway and one's on the west side of the highway. And everybody was hunting the west because they thought the bigger sheep were there. But they've got good rams on both sides, and they split it up, and there's good success for our sheep hunters out there. So that's really positive. Yeah.
Okay, so other positive stuff here coming up. South Dakota mountain lion season opens up at the end of the month here. North Dakota is opened up here, and you're not seeing as many lions being taken. And I have a hard time believing that there's a drop in numbers. I think I don't think there's as many hunters sometimes. I don't, in my mind, okay, because I think you need, in order to do it correctly, I think it's nice to have some dogs to track them down and run them down. And where I live, I cut tracks here the other day feeding cows. And in order for somebody to come down with dogs, it's going to be like a 7-hour wait in order to do that. So, it's just, I don't know how conducive it is sometimes. I think some people do, but I'm crossing my fingers that if I find it, I hope it's not killing any of my cattle, but I can get it shot quick enough.
Yeah, and I've been on a couple lion hunts with a friend of mine in Montana, and I was out with Marty before, and I tell you what, that is a tough hunt.
Yeah.
That is a tough hunt.
Yeah,
dogs especially. Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Jay responds. He says, "I think the landowner appreciation tags are a good idea. I do too." And also CWD and crossing in contact with feedlot beef. Is there any concerns that we need to look at with some of the possible diseases in the beef transmitting or getting pushed over? I don't think there's much that way. I don't think
think so. And I think more of a concern would maybe be brucellosis, and I'm not sure how that is carried by the cervids, if they get that or not. That's something I'd have to look into. So
that's a good comment there, Mr. Mayor, because maybe I need to bring in on the agricultural side a little bit too. Some of these people that are running some of these big feedlots where deer are decimating on top of a lot of their feed. They're eating a lot of the feed, and actually talk to them a little bit and see, get their take on it too. Might be something to look into, but yeah. Well, on the positive side, the sun's out and the wind's down. So that's good. That means coyotes are going to be moving this morning for everybody in a coyote tournament. Next weekend is my 24-hour hunt. So I got to dig my thermal out and get zeroed back in on that thing, Wayne.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd love to have one of those. Maybe I'll have to come out and check yours out sometime and see how the thermal works.
Definitely try it before you buy one if you can, because there's different brands and each one has pluses and each one has negatives and battery life and the whole works here like that. Eye relief.
I heard battery life is a concern with some of that.
It is, but it depends on how much you're using it, because I use mine to scout with and also to shoot with. So I think if you bought a monocular or binoculars anyway. Wayne Muth, thanks for coming on the radio program here today. We can continue a little bit here on the YouTube side, but as for right now, I appreciate all the radio stations staying with me through thick and thin, and we'll continue this each and every Saturday. We'll be back. Check me out at DakotaPrairieOutdoors.com and eat some meat, drink some milk, and enjoy your weekend. All right, stations, thank you so much. Wayne, any other things you want to? Oh, we got, let's see here. Jay says this early winter we got up here in Bismarck is going to be hard on the deer and all the wildlife unless we get a good, warm, early spring.
Yep, exactly. So a couple other things, the fisheries piece, our fisheries that we mentioned earlier, North Dakota doesn't have a state fishery, of course. Their state fishery is kind of a cooperative between the federal fisheries in Valley City and Garrison. And those two hatcheries, they said in the statistic, more sport fish, excuse me, more sport fish are produced annually than any other hatchery complex in North America. So that's a big positive for us here because we're able to, you know, stock these walleye dams and walleye lakes all over, and now they're starting to stock more of the community ponds with actual full size fish. They're trapping or catching and stocking like crappies and bluegills and such, and other and other bass into some of these smaller lakes like Cottonwood Lake in South Bismarck. These small community lakes, and trying to get more people out there fishing and utilizing those. So it's kind of good. I mean, like we talked about earlier, that fisheries, they do a marvelous job.
They do a hell of a job, and the same way across North and South Dakota. I think we have some of the better fishing in the entire nation. You know, a lot of people.
Definitely.
I know Jason likes to head up to Canada and you know, head out to the Great Lakes and everything. But when you're looking for just getting out and having the opportunity to find a fishing hole, I think the Dakota Territory has pretty good areas to go to.
Yeah,
really do.
As long as we got water in them, that's for sure.
Well,
Lake Oahe, you know, Lake Oahe, really, you know, it's tough down there, and hopefully South Dakota can really do some wonders down there, stocking and getting some walleye back in that. So yeah.
What's the river look like? You guys freezing up yet?
Yeah, it's starting to really crust over, and a lot of ice floating down, and the edges are getting froze up. These cold days, they accelerated that quite a bit.
I'll tell you what, it's
11
below last night here at the ranch.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we dug in some new power over to one of my shops, and just because it was like 60 amp is all they had over there, and I wanted a 200 amp service so I could put in like some more outlets. And I was like, I cleaned snow out of here the other day, and I was like, I was digging dirt, so it shouldn't be froze. It was froze, man. It was like 8 inches down.
8 inches. Wow.
Yeah, it was really froze.
It was cold. You know, we'd walk back from the bar to the hotel here in Medora last night, and it was like, holy cow, it was cold by the time we got back here.
Which hotel are you staying at?
We're staying at the Rough Rider here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that far of a walk then. It was.
No, it was just from Boots and from Uncorked over here. Great little places. Yeah.
How is that Uncorked?
It's really good.
Is it good?
Really, yeah. That is a nice place.
I usually
they got great,
my hat
good
at
food
the
there too.
over there. So
yeah, we stopped in there, visited with some ranching friends, and so
it's Medora is a great town once the tourists leave.
Well, then all the locals come and you get to visit.
It is, yeah.
So
well, have fun at Cowboy Christmas. I'm going to go out and feed cows and make my rounds and see what else I can find here. I might even pack my muzzle loader with just to see if I can get a doe or something on my lease place. Yesterday, holy cow, we had, you know, of course, after the antelope season is closed, and there was like 200 head of antelope coming through when I was feeding cows.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing watching them migrate down where I work out of Fort Yates, and north of there's a string of antelope across this field. I bet you there was 150 of them just all strung out. It's like, oh, where were they at earlier? You know?
Oh man, they're bunched up for the winter, aren't
they? Yeah, they are.
And that's the natural thing. You know, those animals are going to bunch up regardless of if you have bait piles or not. It's just what they do.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't understand that concept. But
yeah.
What do you know? I'm not a biologist. I'm just here to get the conversation rolling is what I do.
Like I said, I just do the independent research and review on this stuff and try to get the information out to people and do my best. And so.
All right. Well, you have yourself a good weekend and enjoy Medora. And I don't know what else is going on here tonight. There's all these Christmas type of dances and fundraisers all in every little town.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I might take the night off and just kick back and stay home.
Sure. Yeah. Take it easy. You can now, if you'd have a hot tub, you could sit in your hot tub.
I would have missed my entire radio show if I'd have done that this morning. I got a buddy over by Amadon that has one of those chairs that it like clamps you in and it leans back and it like puts you upside down and does massage stuff, you know? So every once in a while I'll swing over to his place. Maybe I'll do that later today and swing over with a bottle of whiskey and I'll just sit there for like an hour and get worked over a little bit.
get worked over. Well, if you ever take a vacation and need somebody to fill in on Saturday, let me know. I can help out with something like that too.
Well, I tell you what, I might take you up on that because it's hard for me to leave.
Yeah.
And but all you need is internet, and my password to the YouTube channel is all you need.
Yeah, we can make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but sounds good, man. You have yourself a good weekend.
You bet. Thanks,
All right,
Scott.
you bet.
Take
See ya.
care.
Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Oh shit! Hey YouTube, thanks for sticking with me here all the way, and thanks for all the comments, Jay and Gene and all you guys. Appreciate that. Let me know. Text me if there's something. If you know somebody that has information on feedlot health with animals and wild game animals, that'd be great to have both sides of that story. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks everybody. Have yourself a good weekend. I'm gonna see if I can go feed cows and shoot a coyote.